Hello friend, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cotton and this is Cotton's Creations 42, and today we are going to learn how to make this beautiful cabled beanie. Are you ready? Let's get knitting. All right, let's take a look at this example. So after my earwarmer tutorial that I did a couple of weeks ago, I got thinking about ribbing a lot and different kinds of ribbings that I hadn't tried yet. So I decided to try this one, and this is actually a 2-1 rib, something I've never done before, where you knit 2 stitches and then purl 1 stitch. And on this side, it looks kind of boring, but when you flip it over, it's got these beautiful ridges on it. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. And as always, you do not have to do this 2-1 ribbing if you don't want to. You can do any kind of ribbing that you like. It's your creation. And then let's take a look at the cables. So what we're going to be doing is a knit 4, purl 2 pattern all the way up the hat until we get to our decreases. And then we're going to do a cable stitch every 5th row. And that's what creates these beautiful cables here. Oh, I love it. It's so pretty. Cabling is just beautiful. Okay, so the things that we're going to need for our pattern today are some yarn, and I have this beautiful purple yarn here, and then I have my size 9 circular needles. I have a cable needle, and I have my scissors and a darning needle. Now, a cable needle is not something that you necessarily have to be able to do cabling. You can use an old knitting needle. I've used a pen before. When I didn't have a cable needle, you can use a crochet hook. All you really need is something to hold your stitches while you're knitting stitches either in front or behind of it. So if you don't have one of these, do not fear, you can still do this pattern. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is cast on 60 stitches, and we are going to use a cable knit cast on, although you can use any kind of cast on that you like. I just prefer the cable knit cast on because it's super duper easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a stitch marker at the bottom of my yarn, and then I'm going to do another slip knot up here, and this is going to be our first stitch. And we're going to slip that stitch onto our left hand needle. And now I am going to take my right hand needle, put it through that stitch, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and then place it on my left hand needle, just like that. Now I've got 2. Now I'm going to go between those 2 stitches, pull up a loop, place it on my left hand needle. Do that again, pull up a loop, place it on my left hand needle. I like to keep my thumb and my forefinger in between the 2 stitches that I'm working with so that I don't pull my stitches too tight and they're easy to work with. I'm going to do this for 60 stitches, and then I will meet you right back here and we will move on to the next step. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. Okay, I have got 60 stitches on my needles, so now we're going to join it in the round. And the first thing we want to do is make sure that all of our stitches are facing in the same direction. Just like that. Now I'm going to hold them in my hand like this, and I'm going to pull up a loop. All right. Now we're going to join them in the round, and we are doing a knit 2, purl 1 pattern. So I'm going to knit these first 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then purl by bringing my yarn in the front and going through the front of that stitch. Do that again. We've got 1 knit, 2 knit, 3 purl, 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Now when we come up to the end of the stitches on this needle, we're going to want to pull up another loop so that we can continue our work. And the best way that I have found to do that is to bring your stitches to the end of the needle. Now you're going to want to leave some stitches on your right hand needle so that your tension is correct. So I'm going to leave, I like to start my rows, when I do this, I like to pull up my loop between a purl stitch and like have a knit stitch on the left hand side, because I found that if I try to start with a purl stitch, sometimes I get a weird yarn over, and I don't ever have that problem when I'm doing it when I start with a knit stitch. So I'm gonna go between those two stitches and pull up a loop, and then we're gonna continue. See, my next one is a purl. I'm going to do this all the way around, and then I will meet you back here at the end of this row. All right, I've made it to the end of the first row. I've got 3 stitches left, and I just wanted to show you with the cable knit cast on, these last 2 stitches get bunched up, so you just have to remember to pull them apart, or alternately, if you wanted to, you could cast on an extra stitch and then just knit those 2 stitches together, or purl those 2 stitches together at the end. And then this spot right here is another place where your yarn can get twisted. So we just want to make sure that all of our stitches are facing in the same direction before we continue. And I'm also going to place my stitch marker. I don't know why I don't do it in the beginning. I always do it at the end of the first row. And then you just continue on with your knit 2, purl 1 pattern. We are going to do this for 20 rows. And then I will meet you back here to get started on our cables. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. All right, I have made it to the end of 20 rows of the 1-3 rib. And now we are going to do an increase row. Now, the reason why you want to do an increase row is because the ribbing is stretchier than regular stocking knit stitch. And so to make sure that the body of the hat is as stretchy or the same width around as the ribbing, you want to do an increase. So we're going to do this. It's going to be real easy. We're going to knit 4, and then we're going to knit our 5th stitch in the front loop and the back loop. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now for our increase, we are going to knit the front of that knit stitch, leave it on our left hand needle, and then knit the back loop of that knit stitch, and then let it drop off. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, knit the front loop, leave it on your needle, knit the back loop, let it fall. We're going to do that all the way around, and I will meet you back here for the next step in our hat. Alrighty, so we have finished our increase row, and we have 72 stitches on our needle now. And what we're going to do now is we are going to knit 4 and then purl 2 all the way around. And we're going to do that for 4 rows, and then we will come back and do our first cable. Oh, it's so exciting. We're almost to the first cable. So 1, 2, 3, 4 knit stitches and 2 purls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2. So we're going to do this for 4 rows, and then I will meet you back here for our first cable row. All right, I have made it to row 4, and it is time to do our first cabling. Now, these cables are going to be held in the front, and they're going to twist to the left. If you want cables that twist to the right, you will hold your stitches in the back while you knit. So what we do for our very first cable is we're going to slip 2 stitches of this first knit 4 onto our cable needle. Slip them off of your left hand needle. Now I'm going to hold them in the front of my yarn because I want them to twist to the left. Like I was saying before, if you want them to twist to the right, hold them in the back while you do this next part. But we're going to twist to the left, so we're going to hold them in the front. And now I am going to knit these 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then I am going to knit the stitches that are on my cable needle, like so. 1 and 2. And then we're going to purl 2 stitches. And see how that Now those 2 stitches that were on the cable needle are going in front of the 2 stitches that I just knit regularly. Let's do it again. I'm going to take my cable needle, slip 2 stitches. I'm going to hold them in front because I want it to twist to the left. I'm going to knit 2. 1 and 2. Then I'm going to take my cables, the needles, the stitches, stitches that are on my cable needle, and I'm going to knit them. 1 and 2. And then I'm going to purl 2. And then let's just do that one more time. Take our cable needle, slip our 2 stitches onto our cable needle and off of our left hand needle. Knit 2. 1 and 2. And then knit those 2 that were on the cable needle. And that is how you cable, my friend. Easy peasy. So we are going to do this until we have 5 cables. So we're going to, after this row, we're going to do the knit 4, purl 2. Again, for 4 more rows, then do another row of cabling, and then repeat that until we have 5 cables on our needles. And then I am going to meet you back here, and we are going to do our decreases. All right, I will see you in a little while. Okay, I have finished my 5 cables, and now it's time to start our decreases. And how we're going to do that is the first one we're going to do is we're going to purl these 2 purl stitches together so that they're just 1 purl stitch. So let's do a couple of those together. So we'll just knit 4 as regular, and then bring our yarn in front, and now we're going to purl these 2 stitches together. And how you do that is you just go through both stitches and you purl them. Boom, just like that. Easy peasy. Let's do another one. Yarn in front, needle through both stitches. Might help if I move it forward a little bit. And then purl together, just like that. So we are going to do this all the way around, and then we are going to knit for 2 rows of a knit 4, purl 1 before we do our next decrease row. Purl 2 together, just like that. All right, I will meet you back here after I have finished this row, and then knit 2 more rows of the knit 4, purl 1. All right, I finished my first decrease row, and then I did those 2 more rows, and now we're going to do our next decrease row. And this one we are going to knit 2 together, purl 1 all the way around. So let's do the first couple together. 1, 2, and then we're going to knit 2 together just like we purled 2 together. You just go through both stitches as if you were to knit, and then you knit them together and purl 1. Let's do that again. Knit 1, knit 2, knit 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, knit 2, knit 2 together. All right, I will meet you back here for the next row. All right, so we finished that decrease row, and now we are going to do a cable row because we are at 4 rows since this is the 5th row since our last cable. And to keep the continuity in the hat and making it look nice, I really like to put a cable row here. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I do recommend it. I think it looks good. So we only have 3 stitches that we're going to be working with, and since we're putting our yarn in the front, I'm going to put 2 stitches on our cable needle and then just knit 1 behind. So let's go ahead and do a couple of those. So we do 1, 1 and 2. Now if you were working with your yarn being held in the back while you're cabling, you might want to put 1 stitch on your cable needle and knit 2 in the front. However, you might also want to do some experimenting and see what looks good to you. because after all, it's your creation. So we'll cable these two. Let's do one more together. So we'll put 2 stitches on our cable needle, knit 1, knit the 2 stitches on our cable needle, and continue all the way around. I'll meet you back here for the next row. All right, so we have gotten to the end of that row, and that's our last cable row for this hat, which is awesome. Congrats, you made it through. I'm so proud. And now it's getting really tight in here, so we're going to make bunny ears, and that's where you have, instead of just 1 loop, we're going to have 2 loops pulled up. And let's go ahead and we'll just do it right here. I try to have about half of my stitches on this side and about half of my stitches on this side. And all right, so now we're going to do another decrease row. And the decrease this time is we're going to knit 1, knit 2 together, purl 1 all the way around. Let's do the first couple, and then I'll show you how to move your bunny ears around. So we're going to knit 1, knit 2 together, purl 1. Knit 1, knit 2 together, purl 1. Easy peasy. Knit 1, knit 2 together, purl 1. All right, now we've reached the end. So now, instead of pulling up another loop immediately, I'm going to pull this loop so that my needles are flush with the yarn, and then I'm going to bring this back here, and I am going to pull up a loop right there so that I still have 2. And that's how you move your bunny ears around on your work. Okay, I'm going to finish this row, and then I will meet you back here for the next one. Okay, so this next row, we're just going to do a regular row, no decreases. So we're going to knit 2, purl 1 all the way around. 2, purl 1, knit 2, purl 1. I'll meet you back here for the next row. All right, so for this decrease row, we are going to knit 2 together, purl 1 all the way around. We are almost done. There's actually this row and one more row after this, and then we are weaving in those ends, y'all, and we are done. So knit 2 together, purl 1, knit 2 together, purl 1 all the way around. I'll meet you back here for the last row. Okay, last row, everybody. We have made it to the end. So this one, we are just going to knit 2 together all the way around. So we're going to knit that knit and purl stitch together. That knit and purl stitch together. Oop. Just like this. All the way around. Oh my gosh. We are almost done. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We've made it to the end. Pull up that loop. I'm just gonna stay here with you until we're all done, because then we're just gonna go straight into binding off and weaving in our ends. This is so exciting. I love this hat. It is so cute. I'm gonna have a hard time selling this one. Maybe I'll keep it. Maybe I'll just keep this one for me, because it's so pretty. Ooh, tell me in the comments below what your favorite color is. Mine is purple, if you didn't realize that already from watching my channel. All right, last stitch, knit 2 together. And we are done with the hard part. All right, let's go ahead and I will cut this yarn. Get a nice long tail to bind off and weave in our end. Grab my darning needle, slip that on there. And then we're just going to slip all of our stitches onto our darning needle. Just like that. They're so noisy on this table, these needles. All right. Slip, slip, slip. All the needles like that. Go ahead and tighten that up. And then we're going to slip it inside, just like this. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now we're going to turn it inside out so that we can weave these ends in. Now I like to tie a couple of knots in the top of my hats as I weave them in, so that my tail doesn't come apart if people are a little rough. And how I do that is I just go through a couple of stitches and then I just go through that loop that is created. Pull it tight. Do that a couple more times. Go through a couple of stitches. Go through that loop. Make a knot. Pull it tight. Oops, I'm trying to lose my yarn on my needle here. Go through that loop. Pull it tight. And then we're just going to weave this tail in. Back and forth through a couple of stitches. Maybe around this way a little bit. There's no real rhyme or reason to your weaving in of the ends. Just so long as there's a nice, so long as it's not going to come apart, right? You don't want your hat, all of your wonderful work to unravel. All right, and then let's go ahead and we will weave in this end at the bottom. Right. Okay, so since we are going to be flipping up our brim, I'm going to go ahead and turn it right side out to weave in the end at the bottom, because I want it to be on this side and not on my pretty ridged side. Although you can hardly see it anyway, so whatever works for you. This is just what I prefer. So I take it and I'm going to go through that stitch there once or twice, just to kind of join that together. And then I'm going to go up one row like so for several stitches, a couple of inches, till I'm happy. Make sure that you don't pull it too tight because you want it to be the same stretchiness as everything else. And then I'm going to go down the other direction, just like I just did. Trying to not split my yarn as I go. I don't like going all the way down because if the tail comes loose a little bit, I don't want it showing. And then just kind of stretch it out a little bit. Trim your end. And ta-da! You have finished a beautiful, look at how pretty that is, a beautiful cabled knit beanie. Ah, I love it so much. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will answer them in a timely fashion. And thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful hat journey. Like and subscribe if you like what you see and you want to subscribe. I'd love for you to stick around because I plan on doing more. So thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.